Kelly's Eye, brought to you by Ellis Brown Architects.
Peter, what's Kelly's Eye looking at today?
Today, David, I'm looking at something that's amusing.
Amusing. Not the three legs that I see twice there inscribed on a sign?
No, but you're very close to it if you look at the second
the
three
second
legs.
word.
Yes.
Mews.
Mews, yes.
Or as cats would say, meows.
Right. Well, we're just off the promenade in Douglas and we're looking at four buildings which the person who's had them built has given them a title which ends in the word Mews. Now, Mews, of course, used to get a lot in London and Bristol and other cities, where you had the large house, was in a lane behind the garden, and there was
Would there be a
stables.
courtyard or something?
No. Quite often they were a lane away. They didn't even back onto the garden, and there would be a coach house, stable, and stable boy or whatever's accommodation above, and they became Mews houses. And of course, in London now there can be anything up to £750,000 or £1 million.
Much sought after.
Yeah. So here we are in what I wouldn't have thought was a much sought after area, but this is the way the Isle of Man's going, and this is the way Douglas is going. And we're looking at four houses. Each has a garage.
Instead of a stable.
Instead of a stable. Then a doorway which takes you in, and then you go upstairs, and then your accommodation starts. So you've really got a house on top of a garage.
And they're quite tall.
Well, 3 stories. And the sign, which we're referring to, says Esplanade Mews.
Which is, I suppose you'd say, off the Esplanade and alongside, or near to a building that we spoke about very recently down here.
Indeed. They're in what I think is just known as Esplanade Lane, but of course that doesn't sound a very nice address. So Esplanade Mews is where we are. Now, I rather think here E.B. Christians had a garage. I mean, E.B. Christians is gone now, but they had a garage, Esplanade garage, where at one time I think they actually did their car hire, which is quite incredible to think that they could operate it from down here. And here I mention a car. We're in what used to be a back lane, and along comes a car now.
Yes.
Who's wondering what to do. He's pulling up. He's got English registration, and there we go.
In the wrong place, I think.
He definitely is. Whatever was here, I'm sure this is a bit bigger than the garage they had, although there was a small yard with it. And what we've got then is 4 houses, all painted different colours, 2 of which, of course, have a view to the sea, between the Esplanade and Clarence Terrace, whereas the other 2 purely look into the back of some of the properties in Clarence Terrace.
There's some very nice balconies on there. They're nicely designed and made, but totally impractical as far as I can see, apart from putting a few pot plants out, maybe.
Well, I doubt that you could even do that. Yes, they're false balconies. What you've got behind is in fact 2 sliding windows, patio windows, which slide back. So really it's to stop you throwing yourself out and down onto the vehicles below. But yes, it's a piece of decorative work. A lot of this is now ex-catalogue, and I do worry when you see it, because they have actually got different patterns on.
Yeah.
How will it get on with the sea air down here on the promenade? Even aluminium, no matter how they treat it, ends up getting pitted with the sea air. But anyway, time will tell.
They've got to be a bit different by having these lanterns as well at the doors.
Well, that's a rather elaborate carriage lamp, which you would expect in a stable. Well, you wouldn't actually. I mean, it's the last thing you'd do if you've got a garage is hang the car headlamp outside. So I can assure you that the Victorians never hung carriage lamps outside. But they've also, a couple of them, if you notice, got Poolvash stone lintels, just as a feature.
You sure that is?
Oh, well, of course we're in the dark as usual, but I'm fairly certain that's what it is. I don't think it's dirty concrete. I'm sure it's a feature.
But they've done, whoever the architect is, has done a reasonable job given the very narrow area that we're talking about here, I suppose.
True. Well, I can tell you who the architect is, MP Associates. And they were complete in April of 2004, so they've had over a year now of weathering. And obviously they blend in. There's another car coming round. I think they'll be there for a long time.
Many of the most iconic buildings around the island have been designed by Ellis Brown Architects. Keep up with Ellis Brown today on Facebook or via ellisbrown.in.